Hello, gorgeous Scorpio clan, and welcome to December 2019. Isn't that wild? We're at the end of a decade, and all of these transits, all of the goodness that is coming in December is very symbolic of a collective shift and a collective change into some really new territory. And I've been thinking about you guys a lot because, of course, you just came through a Mercury retrograde in your sign. Now, I find that like Mercury retrogrades, when they're in your like home sign, often just help you kind of connect some dots and do some nice internal work. And I personally think that Mercury retrograde was really helpful for a lot of people. A lot of nurturing went on. But of course, it always kind of shakes. It can kind of shake some things loose or shake you up to who you need to be next. And of course, that post-shadow phase kind of goes into December until December 7th. And then December 9th, Mercury leaves your sign and moves on into Sagittarius in your second house. So I kind of think about December as fully stepping forward from that Mercury retrograde in your sign. But also the other big thing is that Mars moved into your sign in late November and is really in that empowered place until the end of the year. And Mars is one of your co-rulers, right? It's the aspect of the Scorpio energy that is very focused on drive and ambition and purpose. But I find that, Mars also rules Aries, and that's definitely more of that warrior energy. But Mars in Scorpio is a lot deeper, and it actually moves in a very different way. So we often think about Mars as like our sex drive and how we move through the world and our ambition. But in Scorpio, when it's in its home sign and when it's doing its work there, that ambition and the way it moves is very different. So you may be finding that while there's all this out there that's like, yeah, you're empowered, you're sexy, that's true. You may be feeling a little bit deeper. You may be feeling a little bit more like you are working from this deep core up and out. And there being kind of not so much of the aggression that sometimes Mars is associated with, as much as vision. And as much as there's like kind of this knowing that's hitting into you. December is also really interesting because Jupiter is moving from your second house in Sagittarius into Capricorn on December 2nd. And if you're interested in learning more about that transit, I have a Patreon video that I've done there, which is really helpful for getting a feel for what Jupiter will be doing in the sign of groundedness and structure. It's very interesting. So if you haven't joined me on Patreon, please go over there and do that. I'm going to be adding so much about the new year and all the transits and how to work with 2020 in its big, bold, visionary wildness. But in any case, Jupiter is moving into your third house, your communication house. And this is really great for you if you've been feeling landlocked or you've been feeling a little shut down, like you can't quite use your voice in the way you've been wanting to use it. You've been feeling like it's been a little bit more internal. It's been a little bit more in the home space. This Jupiter transit is going to release some of that energy for you. And of course, as all this energy flows into Capricorn, we're also getting more and more of that third chakra, short-term plans, communicative energy moving for you in a really positive way. We have a full moon in Gemini. That full moon in your 8th house of transformation, right? So you are the sign that is connected to the 8th house. So this full moon in Gemini is kind of tapping into your innate way of moving through transformation, which is via this really deep, intensive energy. Now, it's really interesting though, because Gemini is third house energy, right? And we were just talking about how all these planets are moving into Capricorn, your third house of your throat chakra. Your transformational sign is Gemini, which is third chakra voice energy. So there's a lot of symbolism that goes on this time of year for you as far as unleashing your true voice and what you have to share with the world. So that full moon could be quite powerful for you. Death. Why wouldn't your own card show up? This has been kind of a thing that's been happening this month, is that our own signature energies are really important in owning and honoring and using in ways, Page of Pentacles, that make us feel that we don't have to shapeshift in order to be accepted and that we don't have to shapeshift in order to be loved. Knight of Pentacles. Very Capricornian energy going on here. And there is something to, and the devil, wow, okay. Yeah, Capricorn is really important to your energy this month. It's something to pay attention to. It's something to keep an eye on just within your process. The sun, oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, a little more playful, right? A little more playful and fun. But honoring your innate gifts. I think sometimes, while Scorpios, you often do love being Scorpios. It feels good. You're proud of it. You're connected to it. It's how you work in the world. It makes sense. There is some shame and some discomfort sometimes, I think, with Page of Wands, with your energy and with its intensity. I think there are times when you feel there's almost like you have to keep it hidden. Seven of Pentacles. And like you can't quite fully be yourself. And the Tower, okay. Well, transformation is afoot this month, and new beginnings are afoot. Oh, and I looked at the bottom of the deck, and it's Ace of Cups, and I have to include that because, come on. Come on now. Okay, so I think sometimes you feel like you have to modify a little bit. And of course, you know, destructive shadow tendencies, we can't be putting that on people and then be like, why don't you accept me? We're talking more about when you feel like you kind of have to play polite, or if you have that depth and you have that intensity, you feel like you have to edit it out because people may not accept you, and maybe certain people won't. That's not your business, right? There's a lot about you self-accepting and self-nurturing, and that's why death is here. But also, you know, now that we're seeing the Devil and the Tower, I know these are totally out of order here as I'm pulling these up, but there's a, if you have all three of these, let's just like take a minute. Because this is about, death is about the transformation, right? And kind of how, no matter how entrenched a system is, a system of thought, a system of law and order, a system of dominance seems, how inherent it seems, how obvious it seems, it's actually very transitory, and death will always have the upper hand. Transformation and change will always have the upper hand. There's really only change, right? So death is representing that. There's a changeover, but the Devil and the Tower are about those structures, those things that seem solid and never ending, and like they're going to stick around forever, but that also make you feel imprisoned, that also make you feel like you are stuck and you want out. You want liberation, you want freedom. So because the Devil is all about being chained up, trapped to the establishment, and the Tower is all about turning that over, revolutionizing, destroying the power system, the power dynamic, the things that aren't serving you anymore. So here's what's going on. We'll fill in the gaps with all these other little cards in between these big, 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 big movers. If you have something that has felt like it has been keeping you trapped, like a foot's been on your neck, or like you just can't break free, this month is a catalyst month for you. And that third house activation does often do this. It helps us move through the world. It's very mercurial in the way it moves. The energy moves, and so you're getting all these infusions of that. And of course, at the end of the month, we have this new moon in Capricorn that's also an eclipse. So eclipses do tend to have that Tower energy in the sense that what once served, the containers, the environments that once served are getting cleared for the next thing. There's a really big symbolic emphasis going on there, and especially because Capricorn is the sign that begins on the solstice. So right now our eclipses are happening at very symbolic times in the seasons in the year. But there is kind of this changeover going on, right? There's something that's been holding you and keeping you locked, which Scorps, you are very faithful, you're very loyal, you're very, very deeply feeling people, and that is a beautiful thing. But it's also one of the things that gets you into trouble when you have gotten too deep into something that feels bad to you, and you don't want to break away from it because you don't want to be disloyal, you don't want to give up on something without really giving it a good try, and so you put yourself in that box. You put yourself in that prison and you don't let yourself be liberated. This month is about liberation, because here's what's going on. So you have your card of transformation, right? There's some kind of new sunrise coming in here that's pulling you forward. And there's also this landlocked feeling. Now, Page of Pentacles and Knight of Pentacles and Devil aren't bad enough of themselves. They often have to do with security, with consistency, with showing up time and again, with groundedness. Page of Pentacles and Knight of Pentacles are often very wise energies when it comes to how we're investing our resources, how we're connecting to our physical body, and how we are assessing risk. right? They're very practical minded. They want to come up with practical solutions and make it happen. So you may be finding that in the tumult of all this change and this storm and this rumbling under the ground, that there is kind of a practicality going on here. There's something building up here that's focusing. But I also get this big sense that these three right here are kind of these energies that are making you feel locked. Practicality is a great thing. We need to make plans sometimes and pay our bills and make sure things are functioning. It's helpful in life to have those things sorted out, but that can only do part of the project, right? It can only do part of the process. Practicality and just being in a highly practical, structured mindset can only get us so far. And Scorps, you all are the masters of intuitive motion. Like Mars in Scorpio isn't about this life right here. This is way too basic. This is way too shallow in many ways. And so there's this rumbling of desire for something much deeper, for change and action to be taking place from a primordial place of depth. Now for you, it's supposed to be playful and fun, right? Compared to the devil, the sun and the page of wands are so playful. They're liberated. They're lighthearted. And this is the thing about Scorps as well. Yes, you are deep. Yes, you go deep. Yes, sometimes you can want to be in the darkness and be curious and take things seriously. But I find Scorpios to be some of the funniest, most playful people I've ever met. You're so quick to laugh. You are so quick to be able to joke and banter and share and play and fantasize. You have a really strong skill set with that. And it's a really important part of your makeup, of your way of moving through the world. And when you feel too landlocked, when you feel too stuck in routines, too stuck in old obsessive cycles, you want to break through with some fire, with some fun, with some playfulness. And there's a big reminder here that there's something calling you forward here that feels like this sunshine, that feels like this playfulness. These are very youthful, playful, lighthearted cards. If you have a fire sign in your life and you have an earth sign in your life, there could be a battle going on between those two, yes. But I think this is also just holistically, if we're looking at this, there's a desire for liberation. There's a desire for things that work better for you. And something's significantly feeling heavy and burdensome and holding you back from being fully in this. And this is the quality of energy I want Scorpios to pay attention to this month, to remember that this is where you should be putting your energy. While there may be heavier themes going on and there may be big questions coming up for you, this is also a time of play and assessment of what feels like play and what feels like burden. Of course, there's always value in sacrifice and duty. Sacrifice and duty often kind of get a bad rap, right? When they're done in the name of really learning and growing and investing, that is an amazing place to kind of connect with those concepts. When it's done out of a place of shame or guilt or should, it doesn't have the quality of feeling that gives it meaning. And the Seven of Pentacles is really pinging up for me where you are feeling like something is just a sacrifice because you feel like you're supposed to, and what is feeling like it's an investment moving forward. You're investing your energy, you're choosing the path. And yes, it means that you're having to maybe give up some other path. Yes, you can't do every single path. You have to pick the path you want to be on. But it feels good. It feels nurturing. So even if you have to give up one thing, you feel really good about it. Make sure you're choosing a path that feels like it is from a place of this playfulness and joy. And anything that's feeling heavy is going to get lit up this month. The Tower is I always think about those big thunderstorms you have sometimes in the middle of the night and the lightning flashes. And you can see the whole landscape for a moment, right? And you just see it clearly. You may even see a building you never noticed before in that moment of the lightning. This Tower often brings us that clarity of something that's sticking out, like a sore thumb, like something that just doesn't click anymore. And these moons are very valuable for you Scorpios this month. So take good care of yourself during both of the full moon and the new moon this month, because they're going to be quite impactful in your journey and giving you information, because something is holding you prisoner. And it doesn't always have to be, I know people are going, I can already see it now, people are going to say the Tower is bad news, everybody knows that. Devil's bad news, everybody knows that. Death is bad news, everybody knows that. I'm like, no, normally these are just signposts for me, and Death especially is such a beautiful card, but Tower is a signpost for me. It's something needs to be clarified, something needs to be released, and something is feeling like a prison. What is that? And there's always a choice. You know, the Tower does bring revolution, it does bring options, it does bring changeover, it does bring new insights. But the Tower is also kind of invitational as well. It says, okay, here's this thing that you know is imprisoning you. Are you going to stay in it or not? Because Scorps, life isn't supposed to be scary and hard all the time. You're meant to have love and to feel free. Ace of Cups is all about deep freedom, right? It's about the freedom that comes when we feel that we are serving ourselves, therefore we can give to others. That's the whole concept. You can only have this overflowing cup when you feel that you are serving and loving yourself, nurturing yourself, caring for yourself. And all that overflow is what nourishes everything else. If you're doing it from the other way, give to these first, you start to feel chained. You start to feel stuck. You start to feel like you're in a rut. Now the Devil's great. Consistency, hard work, showing up, investing. Fantastic. But the shadow side of it is that obsessiveness, that feeling locked in, that feeling imprisoned. And whatever it is that's imprisoning you this month is getting lit up. Okay, and here's the thing that I want to say about December in general, and this is a collective thing that I'm noticing with all the signs, and it's coming up again and again in these readings, is that there's a visionary quality to the month where, because these transits are kicking in, because we're having an eclipse, and because we're in the solstice, because we're in these spaces of forward motion with the planets, for the most part, we are getting these big glimpses of what is shifting, right? We are shifting into this next phase, and it's happening in really impactful ways. And we get nervous because we can't see how it's all going to play out 6 months from now or 3 months from now even. And just kind of remember to like be present with yourself and know that you're not going to get all the steps. And that's okay. As long as you feel like you aren't fighting against yourself or judging what you need to change. You know, it's okay that you want to change. It's okay that you have growth. It's okay that you want to be playful and light and curious. It's okay that you want to be in these warm spaces. It's okay that change often is the only way we can click back in with those true parts of ourselves. So kind of lean into the mysteriousness of it. And in fact, I have a few affirmations for you all that really ties into this process for you. And I'm looking at these cards still and just taking in the Scorpio message. And I'm like, okay, no one ever said that you guys did things in half measures. And I think we can all agree that when Scorpios choose to do something, they do it with their whole heart and soul. They really mean it. They really invest. And you all definitely do that. And so when something's time to change, you put a lot of energy into it. But here are your affirmations for December. I trust the mysterious process unfolding from within me. I embrace surprise and revelation to lead me forward into new spaces in life. I allow gifts and connections to come into my path with ease and joy. I trust my ancient inner wisdom. Trusting that Mars inside of you is really powerful because it is working with you, and Mars wants things to change and grow and become. Like I said, if you want to learn more about Jupiter in Capricorn, in that sign of the devil, you can go over to my Patreon. I would love to see you over there. Thank you to those of you who have joined me there already. I will be adding a lot more about the 2020 transits over there and how to connect with the new year, the new decade, what's coming up. So that's a really great resource if you're looking for a little more information on how to work with this new year. It'd be so amazing to see you over there. And of course, you can find me on my Instagram at SarahVerba. I would love to see you there. And you can find me on my website, SARAHTAROT.com. If you are interested in working with me, I have my calendar on pause at the moment for one-on-one readings. I will be releasing a select number of readings in 2020. So if you want to get notified for when my calendar opens up, please email me. I will add you to that specific notification list for the new year, and you will be all set to go. I hope you have a beautiful December moving into 2020. Take such good care of yourself in these revolutionary waters, these visionary waters. I know you guys are going to do great. The joy and the success and the happiness are for you. And anything that needs to be broken open is all for the greatest good. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you for more Moon Magics and for a new year ahead. Can you believe it? Wow.